All right, wake the hell up. I'm in
Larry.
I'm kind of ornery and sleep very much. I'm kind of pissed off. That was a freaking boring ass 49er fourth preseason game. Let's get out of bed and talk about it. Good morning, everybody.
I think we'll start right here with David, who says, if I finish my coffee and joint before Larry comes on, that's going to be it for me. Larry got off to a little bit of a slow start.
It's all me, guys. It's all me today. I mean, normally I'm a couple minutes behind, but today, totally zoned. Didn't get home till 2 o'clock in the morning. Decided I needed to watch the first half again because I'm a maniac. Started watching the first half.
That's your problem right there. That's your problem.
I mean, no, but it was already 2:30. I mean, I'd forgotten about we were even doing this before I even turned on the game. I apologize to everybody. It was preseason game number 3, and it was a rough night. It was a rough freaking night. All right, let's get to it. I've had my coffee.
I'm glad you're here. And I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you made it. I'm glad everyone is here. Thank you so much for watching. Hit like and subscribe. Wake Up intends to come to you the morning after the 49ers play, which is a little tougher when they play on a Saturday, and it turns it into a 7-day work week for everybody here. But look, what do? We work in the toy department, and we're not going to get too upset again. It is a third preseason game. The vast majorities of guys you saw in that won't even be on the roster 2 weeks from now when this thing happens for real up in Seattle. But we got to start, Larry.
Yeah.
First of all, let's start by thanking our sponsors, as always. Thank you so much to Ike's. Ike Sandwiches is got something delicious just waiting for you. Check out an Ike's today if you're around one, if you're near one, if you're in delivery distance. You'll be happy that you did. Our friends at Dubliner West Portal have the type of Guinness to get Larry through his rough day. So, Larry, maybe you swing over to West Portal a little bit later, get a Guinness, say hi to Kenny and John, and they'll take care of you. Maybe even build you a little cot in the back, take a nap.
Kenny and John, if you're watching, good morning. Thanks to you guys and all the good people at the Dubliner. Thanks to Pig and a Pickle, the title sponsor of the Krug Show. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week. You can get your barbecue any day of the year, pretty much, and they do it great. It's an incredible restaurant. Damon and Mary work at it, and they got 2 great spots, Corte Madera, Emeryville. Check them out. They're open 7 a.m. or 8 p.m. to 11 or 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. or until they run out. And they do run out. So I always say that because they do run out. I mean, like, you're going to get there quarter to 7 or something like that at night, and you're going to say, I want this, this, and this. And you're, we're out of that. That's just the way real barbecue restaurants work. So check them out. Yeah, it's the way it works. Anyway, thanks to them. Great spot, and we appreciate them greatly. They've been with me since the start. And then thanks to Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. The great Anthony Catania was there for that train wreck last night. 831-521-5264 is his number. And he's a great follow on Instagram at Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. And also thanks to Claudaddy Arcades, who's a great sponsor of ours as well. And they're at Claw on Instagram. Check them out at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find the location near you. And they got locations opening this year in Capitola Mall and Visalia Mall. And Claudaddy Arcades will be funding our trip. Kev and I going to New Orleans. We're going to New Orleans, the Big Easy. I'm taking Kev to Bourbon Street. We're going to party with Chapman and the Niner faithful. It's Chapman's birthday. We're going to do it up big. So I'm.
I feel like I feel like I should be there too. There is an Ike's in New Orleans. I was there when little baby Kev lost his Las Vegas virginity. So I feel like I should be there to watch, New Orleans devour him for 48 hours.
We've done New Orleans big, you and I, and we've seen every corner of it. So it would be, I've been there like about 5 times in my life, but you're right. I would love, and not only Damon, not only are we going to Niners Saints.
I know you told me.
We're going to LSU, Florida the night before.
That's the best part of your trip, with all due respect to the NFL and what we do for a living in Niners games and the Superdome and the Saints games and all that stuff. Dude, going to LSU is just going to be awesome.
Have a great amazing.
Okay.
All right, let's get into it.
Well, here's the thing, Larry. So at some point, all feelings need to be removed all original starting points are no longer up for consideration. It just comes down to a real simple question. Are you an asset or are you a liability?
Okay.
Jake Moody, with all of the baked-in confidence that the 2 big field goals at the end of the Raiders game were supposed to put in him, he misses his first kicking attempt, which wasn't even a field goal attempt. It was a point after. He misses it. He makes the rest of it. I was trying to speak, Jake Moody into reality because he is the 49ers reality. I was trying to think, hey, there is something to build off here. But Larry, this team is going to go into the year with a liability and not an asset at kicker. And I just think they got to look at it like that. And if they do, they'll make a decision and he won't make it past cut down day. And they'll bring back I don't even care. The other guy, just get the other guy. I think
Joseph.
I think I'm done with Moody, and I've been his biggest supporter.
That's fine. I mean, you know what? I'm not going to fight. I'm not going to fight about it. It's funny. It makes me think. So my sister and I'm one of 4 kids in my family. My sister and I are only 20 months apart, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what Kyle Shanahan is doing right now reminds me of what I did when my sister and I were little kids. My mom came up to me when probably I was 2 or 3, and she said, "Larry, did you poop your pants?" And I said, "No, Kim did."
Oh.
I blamed it on my sister, thinking that I could. So I basically was like, it was my alternate universe, my alternate reality. And that's Kyle Shanahan. That's Kyle Shanahan's alternate reality. He gets asked last night by the Cobra, Matt Mayoko, "Kyle, any trepidation about your super fucking shaky kicker?" And he's like, "Well, he kicked really well. I thought last week was the best he ever kicked. I thought that was one of the greatest kicking games I've ever seen." Really? Last week, where a guy missed a 53-yarder in a dome with no conditions at all and shanked a 26-yarder that would have missed from 30, that's the greatest kicking performance you've ever seen? That's what he said last night. That's what he said.
It was just one of them, Larry. One of the many memorable kicking performances he's seen in his career.
He's got an alternate reality. The rest of us are living in reality. And reality is that the kicker is shitty. And they invested a 3rd-round pick in a bad kicker. And he can't do it. He cannot do it. You have to make kicks consistently. When you miss a PAT, has nobody reminded anybody that missing a PAT is worse than missing any field goal?
Right.
Missing a PAT is the worst thing a kicker can do. And that's what your kicker did. And your response when people asked about it was like, what? What do you? I don't get it. Guys, I don't get it. He just came off of one of his best games. You can't. Okay, and here's the other rub on this, Damon. You can't say that last week mattered if this week didn't. It's the preseason for a kicker. We're talking about 2 preseason games for a kicker. Don't look over here at the missed PAT. Look over here at one of the greatest kicking performances of all time. Oh, but by the way, in that performance was a missed 53-yarder and a shanked 26-yarder. So, I mean, I love Kyle Shanahan. I think Kyle Shanahan's one of the 3 or 4 best coaches in pro football. I'm not saying dump Kyle Shanahan. I'm not saying what other people are saying, which is that if they don't make the playoffs, they're going to run them out of town. That's all a bunch of bullshit histrionics by people who are just trying to push a narrative that ain't, that's going nowhere. Kind of like the Trey Lance's awesome narrative went nowhere. Okay, that's what those people are doing. But Kyle Shanahan, come on, bro. You got to get real on your kicker. When you start having alternate reality, you lose the fan base.
Can I give you a little sprinkle of hope?
Please do.
When Shanahan was talking about Moody, after he praised the greatest kicking performance ever recorded in football history a week ago in a preseason game in Las Vegas, and then talked about how tonight was a bit disappointing the way that it started out. He then did reference, he had a rough 7 games last year, which is a lot. It sounds like Kyle is starting to build the argument in his own mind that he's going to sit down at the table with on cut down day. The way that you got to build an argument to get a guy into the Hall of Fame, it sounds like Kyle is starting to consider building the this can't happen argument in his own mind a little, but he's still trying to spin it positively in the press conference. The rubber meets the road on Tuesday. And if you're going forward with Nick Moody, may God bless all of you involved.
Jake Moody.
Yeah, all the Moody. Moody Blues, all the Moodies.
Nick Moody. There was a Nick Moody. Niners had a linebacker named Nick Moody. So that's what you're thinking.
It's
morning. Nick Moody on the brain.
Haven't had much coffee. I did have a stroke. Moody pisses me off. What can I tell you?
Recently?
No, not recently. But God, it seems like Jake Moody has one every 4 or 5 field goals.
Well, I get it. I understand where Shanahan is coming from, Damon. He had, I think, Graham Gano, and he cut him, and he went on and had a really good NFL career, and he's afraid of that. But I mean, that old saying, "You are what you are." I mean, aren't you? You are what you are until you change what you are. Now I'm sounding like Popeye. I am what I am, and that's what I am. But I mean,
this is straight up just
I watch a lot of Popeye. Yes.
Let's say Nick Moody was an undrafted kicker. Is he still on the team? Or Jake? Sorry, God. Now I'm screwed up. Now I'm just all bad.
Just call him Money. Just call him Money because he's money with the kicks.
What if Moody were an undrafted kicker? Would he still be on the team?
No.
Yes or no? No. Okay, then what are we talking about? I don't care where you picked him.
You know what it is? You know what it is?
Trey Lance, you can move on from Moody too. Okay, I know that.
Here's the one thing. I kind of feel like this year, you say, what's the vibe? There's some different vibe this year. The vibe is that Jed seems like he's tightening the purse strings. And I'm always nervous anytime Jed gets involved because Jed's not a smart football guy. That's why he doesn't do football. And, he up to this point, his ownership with this regime has been cut the check, listen to my guys, stay the fuck out of the way. Stop tweeting on Thanksgiving, cut the check, defer to Lynch and Shanahan, and stay the fuck out of the way. That has been his mindset. It's been great. It has been awesome. This has been the greatest era of Jed's ownership ever. They've gone to 2 Super Bowls during this. And they haven't quite gotten it done. But you know what? When you don't, a little bit of knowledge is a dangerous thing. And that's what Jed York has about football. And that's what Dr. John York has about football. A little bit of knowledge. And they obviously tighten the budget strings on Lynch and Shanahan. It'll be interesting to see how this year goes as far as the pushback eventually. I mean, or where this goes if the Niners don't win. But it's clear there was a belt tightening and you guys didn't fulfill your goals, so we're going to tighten the belt. And they start making stupid fucking decisions. One of them was to not really participate that heavily in the undrafted market, despite the fact they had extra roster room and it's a burgeoning market and it ain't that expensive. But they sat it out completely because Jed wanted to. They sat out free agency almost completely because Jed demanded it. And, he's tightened the belt strings on the 49ers. So how the Niners are trying to win a Super Bowl. I mean, if all I told you about this season, if all you knew was that the Niners were trying to win the Super Bowl with close to $100 million in dead cap and $45 million unused on the cap that they're planning on rolling over to 2026, you would say no chance, no way. And especially since you're paying your quarterback the millions that they're paying their quarterback. This is their new reality to a degree because Brock Purdy's not making rookie scale anymore. Now he's making superstar scale. So we all know in a cap sport, Damon, that means there's less money for everybody else. So that's part of what's going on here. But the other part of it is Jed's had this belt tightening and it's and logic be damned. And he doesn't know anything about football. So it's like he's making bad decisions. And now you got Shanahan and Lynch with a roster that has 8 or 9 guys who are like, it's like a movie now. It's like Rocky. This is like the Niners are like Rocky 4 and Rocky 5, where they still have the headliners, but where's Talia Shire? Where's Burgess Meredith? Where's all the where's all the side stars? They don't have any side stars because they have 5 megastars, and then everybody else is on scale. And that's the way Hollywood does movies. Tom Cruise gets paid billions or whatever, and his co-hosts are all guys who are just out of college and took acting at UCLA last semester. I mean, that's the reality of the movie world, and that's the reality of the Niner world. They have all these great players. They're paying so much to Trent, so much to CMC, so much to Bosa, to Warner, to Lenore, to all the guys they took care of, that they have this very top-heavy roster. The top-heavy roster is why we can justify saying they're in it for the Super Bowl. But then they've got this group of young guys that are just kind of a mix mash of young guys, and the Niners are just crossing their fingers that enough of these guys are good that they can compete, but they need like 20 guys to fulfill potential. It's a tall ask. It's a tall order. And that's where they're at right now.
But here's the thing. It's an order that teams do fill throughout the league all the time. I mean, this is teams with highly paid quarterbacks, stars commanding huge salaries. They live in this reality too. And it's usually not when you hear owners who find themselves in the top 10 of sports valuations say, well, let's dial down the spending. I mean, that's the weird part of the whole thing. But I'll say this, all those top heavy guys, like that's still Stallone. He will sell tickets. And, we have not even seen the 49ers. We've watched 3 preseason games. We've gotten a few snaps out of Purdy to Pearsall, and that's basically the only starting element of this team that we've even seen so far. So I'm not using any preseason results or doubts or speculation or anxiety. And that's the thing. They went 2-1. They won. But I'll tell you, they might be in a little bit of trouble week 1 in Seattle. They might be because who they're going up there with and who they're not going up there with. And again, Brian Robinson. I thought the other interesting thing was Kyle Shanahan's declaration that a player he's yet to see take a snap in practice has been declared RB2. Just that simple. He's the guy. So I guess Guerrero now fills out the form of disappointing, unnecessary, didn't work out draft pick. If you want Brian Robinson to be your RB2, why don't you just not trade Jordan Mason? He could have been your RB2. It feels like you're making one trade to justify the walk away from another player.
It actually works out nicely, though. If you look at the way it pans out, I mean, basically you got 2 picks for Mason, you turned 1 into Siegel, and you turned 1 into Robinson. So you got Siegel and Robinson for Mason, and everybody would make that trade. So the Niners are fine on that front. The Mason thing, I think, was more about personal and salary too. But it was also personal. I think he needed to change the scenery. But I think ultimately, you're right. Your first statement was right, which is we haven't seen the Niners yet, really. Purdy looks really good. Kittle looks really good. But once you get to, the backups, they're not as deep, even though they did win yesterday and defensively they look pretty good. But back to Guerrero. I think that's what we've seen the last 2 days, Damon. Sky Moore is here because Junior Bergen can't do it. And was there ever a moment that was sadder than his muff punt?
He knew it.
Everybody knew it. He sat at his locker on the phone in the locker room. He was obviously, despondent, and it's like, what's a good way to avoid having to do media? Be in the locker room and just be on your phone, because nobody's going to come over to you and try to interview you when you're on your phone.
I mean,
that's what he did. That's the move that he played.
Guy, he's probably talking to his dad, more than even his agent. I feel bad for him. I really did.
Yeah, I know. We all do. But I mean, so Sky Moore is Bergen's job. And, it's funny. Grant said it the other day, and I didn't think much of it. But you know what? I think he's right the more I think about it. Guerrero had 3 fumbles in the practice before they'd made the trade. And I just, fumbling is one thing that Kyle Shanahan hates. I mean, not all coaches hate it, Damon. But I mean, he really hates it, to the point where he really loved Elijah Mitchell. Why? Because the book on him was he never fumbled in college. I think fumbled once in the pros. So he doesn't like backs that fumble. And Garendo put it on the carpet 3 times in like 7 plays. And I was looking around going, Jesus, what's going on here? And I've been saying it, it's like, and how many people banged on me? I said this initially. My first take on Garendo.
He's a fullback.
Not a running back. He's not a running back. Then I asked Kyle Shanahan, what would you, I thought Kyle was going to be intellectually honest. I said, Kyle, what is he? Is he a running back? Is he a receiver? He's like, he's a running back. But you know what? You can be a running back in name, but there's no running back instincts. Last night was a perfect example. 8 carries for 13 yards, 1.6 a carry. Well, I'm sitting there watching the game with Todd Husak. Todd Husak played in the NFL. Todd Husak played big-time college football.
Yeah.
He said, hey, can I take a look at your binoculars? I said, yeah, absolutely, take a look. So he's looking on the binoculars on a couple plays, and he just turns to me after about, a handful of plays. He's like, Garendo just can't read blocks. And it's like, he's totally right. And he can't read blocks. He can't hit the hole. He doesn't run with any kind of body lean. He runs upright, so he gets smoked. So he gets hurt all the time. He has no instinct. So yes, Brian Robinson is RB2. And I was saying it last week that this is why you needed to get Brian Robinson, because you need a damn good RB2 on this team. And Shanahan obviously agrees.
Well, look, they get something out of Garendo, either in the slot or as a wideout or as that third guy who gets a handful of carries a game. Maybe he's a little bit more of a gadget guy. I don't know, but
they'll find a role.
Yeah, there's hands, there's speed, there's talent there. But Brian Robinson, again, with sight unseen, is the backup to Christian McCaffrey. Guy who's never even carried his helmet to the practice field in Santa Clara is RB2 just like that. That is a damning indictment on Garendo. And look, Garendo, he can't.
It's about a resume, Damon. It's about resume. If somebody hired you, they would put you in a major time slot because of what? Because of your resume. Brian Robinson, Brian Robinson had his career high last year in yards rushing and career high in yards per carry. He's in the prime of his career. Truth be told, Damon, if you go back and look at the draft that Robinson came out in, the Niners, once again, just took the wrong guy in the draft. They had a pick right in the same neighborhood that Brian Robinson went. They took Ty Davis Price. So, look, you know what? They had their shot at him, but now they're getting him, and he should be RB2. He should.
I guess my point is, so do we now have yet another shouldn't have drafted that, totally wasted draft pick, isn't going to work out, isn't going to be much of a player after all in Isaac Garendo? The answer is maybe, and that's too bad because he was one of the guys that I was leaning towards. He is really going to work out. He is going to be play a significant role for the 49ers. I don't know if he is anymore. And I guess that brings us to Jacob Cowing, right? Because
I was going to say, Damon, I know what you're saying about Garendo. I wouldn't put him on that list quite yet, but there are other guys that as soon as you said that, I thought, okay, but I don't know about him, but there's other guys that absolutely I've quit on in the last 2 weeks.
And Jacob Cowing's got to be one of them.
Yeah, come on, bro. You did nothing your rookie year. You had this big off season. You have a hamstring pull. You get to camp. You have another hamstring pull. At this point, I don't care if Jacob Cowing goes somewhere else and fulfills his potential. It's over.
He's missed more games than he has career catches.
Yeah, and it's got 4.3 speed. So what? We're supposed to go to the fucking end of time, sitting there waiting for your ass to get on the field. It sounds like I'm mad. I'm not. I'm just fed up with the idea of waiting for a guy who was a 4th-round pick and people acting like, well, Cowing for sure will be on the team. Why? What the hell has he done? Why the hell would Jacob Cowing be on this football team? What has he done? Does he have naked pictures of people? Why would he be on the team? Why would he make the team? He hasn't done anything last year, and he's done nothing this year. He did nothing last year and done less this year. So there's no way. He's got to be.
Tariq Owens should be on the team ahead of him.
No. All right. Now you've gone too far.
That's the thing. But at least Tariq Owens can play football.
He had a touchdown last night.
Always hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are always hurt, you are essentially football useless. I mean, that's the way it is. And it's rough to say that about a guy. He's football useless. You want to know the other thing that I heard from
Can't
Shanahan?
make the club in the tub. That's what the coach used to say.
The other thing that made me a little bit nervous is when Shanahan was asked about Sky Moore. He goes, yeah, we really liked him coming out of college. I thought, fuck, that's not good. Because everyone that you guys like coming out of college, your instincts that bring you to all of your draft picks almost, certainly your offensive players and your wide receivers, are almost always wrong. Always. I mean, seriously.
They've drafted a lot of receivers that haven't made it. I'll say this. In fairness, and let's be fair, and you and I haven't been doing this for as long as we have because we're not fair. But in fairness, receiver is a really hard position to handicap. It's like right there with quarterback. There's so many freaking busts.
I agree with
you. So many guys that just can't do it. But you're right. I mean, they have picked way more bad receivers, DeAndre Smelter and we can go on and on and on.
Just nobodies, just never,
like Jalen Hurd and all these guys. I mean, these guys are just donkeys. Dante Pettis, they've picked some bad receivers. So
it's and look, it's just I love Kyle Shanahan, the coach. Kyle Shanahan, the talent evaluator coming out of college. I'd take the job of GM away from him.
Yeah, can I just jump in with this? So I think it was Robert Saleh that said, like no coaching staff has a bigger say on the draft than what the Niners have, and that should end.
Yes,
because coaches say, you know what? Get me Junior Bergen. Why? Because I'm the special teams coach and he's a special teamer. And if he's really good, there's only about a 10% chance that he's really good. But if he's really good, man, that's gonna really help me. I don't want that. You passed on Willie. Your center's Jake Brendel. You passed on Willie Lampkin. He went to the Rams. It's not like nobody could see he was going to be good. People could see he was going to be good. I was one of them. And you went with Junior Bergen out of Montana State, who isn't fast, isn't big, as your return guy. It's like the old comedy thing. He's slow, but he's also weak. It's like he can't run, but he can't catch.
Right. Not only is she ugly, she's got a terrible personality.
Right. And she owes $10,000 to the bank. This guy's not a receiver, but he's not a kick returner. And I can tell that in freaking 4 practices. And I'm just a YouTube guy. So if I can tell that in 4 practices, why can't a whole room of scouts know that? That's very frustrating to me. That is very frustrating to me.
You know what? It should also be frustrating to everyone to hear this and then think about it for a minute and then go, oh, shit, maybe he's right. Do you realize that Trent Taylor is probably no worse than the 4th best wide receiver this regime has ever drafted? I mean, he's still technically in the league. So I guess
on the field the other day.
A success story, right? But you got Trent Taylor in 2017, Dante Pettis and Richie James drafted in 2018, Debo and Hurd in 2019, Brandon Ayuk, Jauan Jennings in 2020, Danny Gray in 22, Ronnie Bell in 23, Ricky Pearsall in 24, Jordan Watkins and Junior Bergen. Only one of those guys is going to make the team. So, Debo
4 hits out of like 15.
Right. And of your hits, only one remains in Brandon Ayuk, and I guess Ricky Pearsall.
Watkins. They have Watkins still.
They do, but he might not be able to play at all. We do not know. I mean, the guy has hardly played a lick.
No, I hear you. But he's looked good. It's hard to draft receivers. I'm not giving them a pass. They've been bad at it. Stop listening to Kyle Shanahan and his coaches. Listen to your scouts. Nothing against Kyle, but think about it. The skill set, it's not like the Niners could take their smartest, best talent evaluator and make him the offensive play caller. They couldn't. Lynch could not go up to his best road scout, who he trusts inherently, like more than any other scout, the guy who's never been wrong, who's just absolutely a star in the Niners system. He could not get that guy to correctly call and sequence offensive plays. Why? because even though that guy really is a football genius on some level, it's a different skill set. Why is that so hard to understand? Kyle Shanahan is an awesome coach. He's a great offensive play caller. His offense is Jim Harbaugh's offense is smoke and mirrors compared to Shanahan. Shanahan's offense produces points. Shanahan's gone to the Super Bowl against Mahomes with lesser quarterbacks. He's won the conference title game with lesser quarterbacks. I mean, than the superstars that exist in the league. So he's a good coach, but this top of the masthead thing where he's the top guy, that's fine. But they should have had a general manager who was making the decisions. I mean, Andy Reid is involved in the decisions, but they've got Brett Veach.
Right.
And, Ozzie Newsome and Eric DeCosta, John Harbaugh is involved, but there's those guys. I mean, Sirianni, when he's not crying and, whatever, he's involved in the personnel, but Howie Roseman is the guy. And it's like, I almost get the feeling like the Niners make their coaching staff the final between their analytic research and development staff impact and then their ownership impact, if there is one, draft Trey to the coaching staff. You've got a bunch of people doing what they're not best at. Let's have everybody do what they're best at and only what they're best at. And, but it's like, you're paying Shanahan millions. I get it. So you want to say, oh, let him make the final decision. And he's a smart football guy and he found Kittle. But you know what? He's also the Niners have traded up, which is a dead indication that it was an impulsive thing, which I would almost guarantee you means Kyle Shanahan said, I want that guy.
Here's the thing. If not impulsive.
And they've been awful in their trade-ups. How many teams would be worse in their trade-ups than they are on their day 3 selections? Right. The Niners are worse with their offensive trade-ups than they are with the guys that they take undrafted.
When the Kansas City Chiefs trade up, they get Patrick Mahomes. When the Niners trade up, they get Trey Lance. That's.
By the way, you're saying guys that you quit on. I think I quit on Trey Lance last night. Trey Lance just does not have enough accuracy. That's it. He's just not accurate. At the end of the day, you can have he's in the perfect system for him. They're going to run the ball. They got a big offensive line. They got a bunch of backs. It's 3 yards, cloud of dust, defense, special teams. He's got a great chance to win there with Harbaugh. We all know it. But he is not an NFL caliber passer. Not.
He's got, kid, if we could have gone back in time and had you, one, stay in school, and I know it was COVID, so it was really weird. It was a weird time for everyone. It was a weird time to be a college athlete. What Trey Lance should have done was remain in college and transfer to a real big boy school to see if he can play real big boy football, not just be the toughest guy on a football field in North Dakota. So, that's what should have happened.
Whatever he did wasn't the right thing. I mean,
right, it wasn't the right path. I mean, it made
him. He only had 300 and something passes in college, and it's just like, dude. I mean, you're right. In this era where we bemoan the portal and this guy would have benefited greatly from doing what Dylan Gabriel did and just said, you know what? I had a good year for Central Florida. Dylan Gabriel didn't come out in the draft after he had a good year for Central Florida. He went and played for like 3 other teams, accumulated a couple $1 million in NIL money, and honed his craft. And now he's far more ready. And
what's the thing? You need the reps. By the way, you want to know who's
Trey Lance would have been ready right by now if he just stayed in college.
He obviously has the luxury to slow play the whole thing because his family all around him is incredibly wealthy. But there's so much talk about what Arch Manning is about to do this season at Texas. And, hey, man, if he plays this, if he's a Heisman candidate, if Archie Manning is leading the country in touchdowns or whatever, he's coming out. I don't care. No, he's not. Because the Manning family understands that any statistical performance doesn't mean as much to Arch at the next level as just the reps. More reps. Playing football is the best way to get yourself the best shot of being a good professional football player. They're not at Texas for the exposure or the NIL. They're there for the reps. And so if he has a great year, I bet you he does stay because he doesn't have to come out and buy mama a new house. They're the Mannings. Everybody's got a new house. They're fine. So he's got the luxury of patience, and I think that he's got, Peyton and Eli and everybody just saying, just keep playing football. Play as much college football as you can before you go to the next level. It'll benefit you, period. Getting back to where this whole thing began. Getting back to where it all began. Assets and liabilities. Kyle Shanahan, the coach, huge asset. Kyle Shanahan, on draft day, is a 49ers liability. I don't think that that's an unfair argument.
I don't even know if it's Kyle Shanahan. It might just be coaches. The coaches. I mean, the coaches probably shouldn't have as much say in the personnel. I mean, my buddy Bill Urbanic, the late Bill Urbanic, used to work for the Cincinnati Bengals. And he's like, back then, the old man, Paul Brown, he was cheap and this and that. And they made their coaches do a lot of the personnel stuff in the offseason. That's what they did in the offseason, right? Some coaches back in the day used to actually get other jobs in the offseason, if you can believe it. But Paul Brown used to have, the Bengals people, the Bengals coaches scout. The Bengals coaches were more involved in the scouting process than almost any coaching staff. Well, yeah, now there's some teams, and I think the Niners are one of them. It's a very much, group project. And it's one thing to say it's a group project, and Lynch is always celebrating the group project status, and that's all great. It's great if you get the picks fucking right. It's not great if you don't. If you don't, it's too many cooks in the kitchen. If you do, then you got a great process. And they had a good draft last year, but they had awful drafts for like 3 years in a row. So it's like, sorry, Junior, if I'm not celebrating your A in geometry when you got 3 Fs and a D on your last report card. Sorry if I'm not doing cartwheels for your A- in geometry. I mean, that's where I feel like the Niners are. It's like, hey, you know what? We had a great draft last year. We'll see. All of your greatest drafts are in close proximity to the draft. Over time, they wear like crap. The Drake Jackson draft was heinous.
Oh, dude.
Now Jair Brown is being talked about like they're going to hawk him.
By the way,
how many times are you going to draft a guy in rounds 1, 2, or 3 and then trade him for round 6, 7 picks, a year or two later? I mean, that's called a bust. That's called swinging and missing. So, we'll see. I don't want to be too negative on last night was a win, and I don't want to be too negative on the Niners overall as a team this year. Because there are people that are like, oh, they're not a very good team. I don't think that's the case, but you got that vibe.
Yeah.
Watching them that they're far from a Super Bowl contender, but I think it has to do more with the construction of their roster. They're not going to look, because they do have 7 great players at the very top. Since those 7 great players basically have not done hardly anything this summer, it's like you're really looking at a 49er team that's top heavy without the top.
There's no top. We haven't seen any of the top yet. By the way, Often Evil says, is Arch Eli's kid? No, he's Cooper Manning's kid. He's the didn't make it brothers kid. He is Peyton and Eli's nephew. So there you go.
And by the way, pump the brakes on that, because I'm not you, but I mean, to all the people out there, there's a bunch of other quarterbacks that are probably better than him. I like give you an example. I love the kid Raiola at Nebraska. I love the kid Nussmeier from LSU. There's a handful of quarterbacks. Arch has the biggest name, but if he doesn't have a spectacular year, I don't believe in you until I do, and I haven't seen enough from Arch to make me even believe in him yet. Well, you can always start picking a guy apart, but you got to believe first, and I don't even believe first. Other than the name, I'm really not that intrigued by him. But we'll see.
Larry, the only really good news apparently coming out of yesterday's game, and we'll start talking about some roster battles and a few guys who did flash in an otherwise unwatchable, get me the hell out of here football game. Shanahan said that Jauan Jennings is on track and should be available for Seattle in week 1. What if that's when Jauan Jennings actually decides to stand on business? What if then he says, no, I'm holding out. I'm not playing. What then?
This is another baffling situation.
It's
did you see what JJ put out on IG?
Yeah, I did. I saw that. I saw Coach Yak, and I retweeted it just saying, "Oh, great." He's basically quoting Offset from from Migos, saying like, "Yeah, I'm out of here. Go get another guy."
Well, I mean, without reading it, you can just say Jauan is pissed.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's it. I'm done. If I were the Niners, I'd be done with Jauan. Either, somebody needs to ask Kyle Shanahan the ultimate question. It's pretty obvious he's not happy. It's pretty obvious you guys don't want to extend him. It's now time to play football. Are you going to pay this guy? Are you going to trade this guy? Or are you just going to let this be fester on the side and be a constant distraction? What's your guys' approach here? Because this can't go on all year. You can't just go on all year with some. He's a very powerful presence in the room, and you can't have a powerful presence that's unhappy. I mean, like the Niners' approach, Damon, seems to be he's got a contract and he's got a calf injury and he'll come back when he comes back. But once again, I didn't crap my pants, Mom. Kim did. It's the same fucking thing. It's an alternate reality. Hey, Kyle, you have an unhappy receiver over here, and obviously he's holding out and he's not happy. He wants a new deal. What do you think about it? Well, it's a calf injury. And Kyle, so we're going to ignore the fact that he just went on social media and basically threatened you guys and is obviously discontented, or is it we supposed to believe that Jauan has a whole alternate universe of feelings and reality, and that his social media tweetings and Instagram postings and all this, it has nothing to do with his career or his contract status, some other aspect of his life? I mean, right. Are we going to live in denial that much?
Is he upset with some girl who walked out on a date? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, are we that denial? And it's like in this market, and I love my media brothers and sisters, but in this market, it's just like this has been allowed to just go on all summer. Nobody believes he really is hurt, and the Niners insist he's hurt, and it's obvious that everybody's just buying more time. If there's a calf injury, I believe it's there, but it's nominal. It's not keeping him out. And if it is keeping him out, then why aren't we discussing that a guy who had a calf injury in April still has a calf injury in August? And but then Kyle's been all over the freaking map on this. Go talk to JJ. It's a persistent thing. These calves are tricky. Oh, but I don't think it's serious, and I don't think it will last too long. Well, will he be there at the beginning of the year? Well, we're expecting him to. Well, which is it? What is it? What is the story? Why can't we just speak English to one another? Why do we have to have this freaking tap dance? What's so sensitive? Are we talking? I mean, what is going on here? Right. Why can't we say other people can hold out? Other people can have discontent. But in this market, the Niners have obvious discontent, or at least JJ has obvious discontent with the situation. And Shanahan has given us a million non-answer answers. They keep kicking this can down the road. Lynch was said, we love JJ. And then there's a gigantic pause, but obviously they don't want to extend him. Obviously they spoke through Tim Kawakami and said the timing's all wrong. We don't want to extend him. But instead of they don't want to say it publicly, directly. So they slip it to Kawakami, who then tries to carry their water by making the first sentence of his article, the calf injury is legit. Show me some proof.
Well, I guess the proof would be he's not out there playing or practicing.
That's not proof. That's not proof. That's asserting. You're asserting something. He's not out there practicing, and you're telling me it's because of the calf. But then when you talk to Shanahan, is it serious? Well, they're nagging, but it's not serious. He literally told us it's not serious. And then he told us, but it's nagging. And is he going to be ready by this? Well, we don't know. And is there a timeline? No, there isn't.
Can we just start with
it's all about this contract, and JJ's got nowhere to go, and now he's going to get negative. And the question that needs to be asked, Kyle, it's pretty obvious that JJ, whether there's a calf injury there or not, he seems very unhappy about his contract. He is a veteran. He is one of the more powerful presences in the room. Your guys' stance seems to be, hey, he's got a contract and he'll come back and play when his calf is right. But there seems to be some discontent on his part. Are you okay with having a powerful veteran presence like Jauan Jennings potentially unhappy inside your locker room in his walk year, and then shut up and let him answer?
I guess my thing was, Larry, you're down there every day. And when you're down there every day, the relationships that you foster and, asking a question properly really matters. Maybe since I'm more of like a Niner mercenary, I only go down there when I want something. Maybe I'll come down and play the heavy and ask the question that is simply, okay, so we know what you don't know about it. What do you know about the situation? I'm tired of what here's what we think. What do you actually know about this situation? Because it feels like your instincts on it have led you to an impasse that cannot be breached. It is insane that they didn't know that this was. How do you not anticipate Jauan Jennings holding out? He restructured last year. He won't do that 2 years in a row. Are you guys fucking paying attention? Come on, of course he will, because he's actually got the only bit of leverage that he'll ever have in his career right here, right now. And he'd be silly not to play it. And he didn't sign with Drew Rosenhaus to just sit back and let his career dictate his contracts. He's here to dictate his own contracts now. That's what Drew Rosenhaus does. Drew Rosenhaus is the official flag that goes up the pole that lets everybody know we done fucking around. It's money time. So how do you
they're done, but that's their answer. You think you're done, Drew? Guess what? We're done too. That's their answer.
Then trade him. You should have gotten Terry McLaurin. You should have gone ahead and
let me just say this, Damon. Let me just say this. There were some whispers last night in the press box.
Okay.
From a number of different people, who seem to be in the know. Let's just say that.
Press box whispers.
Press box whispers.
That's Larry's Love Night romance album. Press box whispers.
Careless press box whispers.
All right. What's whispering?
That there's something coming of significance at wide receiver. Well, I don't know if that's a JJ trade. I don't know if that's a McLaurin trade. I don't know if that's a Tyreek Hill trade. I don't know if that's a Romeo Doubs trade. I don't know if it's a far lesser trade, but there were rumors in the fourth quarter last night. I'll just say that. I heard the whispering that something is coming.
Well, let me first
congratulate
everyone involved in this whisper on whispering this right now. Because
I'm telling you the truth.
No, here's the thing. I believe you.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that you're off base or something isn't about to happen.
Right.
Of course something would happen now that your preseason is over and your practicing is over, and like the guy that you were looking to assimilate into this team will have to start getting reps with the 49ers in Seattle on week 1. The first time he goes out and catches a ball from Brock Purdy will be in the warm-ups before the Seattle game. Like, why not a month ago? Why now? Well, deadlines breed with. Terry McLaurin's been saying, get me the fuck out of Washington for a month and a half.
Well, I mean, I think the Niners are probably hoping that JJ would come to his senses, but the Niners don't have a move to play. It's like Rosenhaus is not very smart. I mean, for an agent, I don't think he's very smart. Why? Because you got to read the room. And the room was the Niners have two guys that they really like that are really important to their locker room, Colton McKivitz and Jauan Jennings, and they're not going to extend one without extending the other. And if they do, like Shanahan said it, we could extend everybody, but it wouldn't be good business. And guess what? You could also extend, if you extend if you pick and choose in this situation, and you chose Jauan Jennings, who did not practice all summer, and then you would give him an extension over Colton McKivitz, who did practice all summer. The
roster's not going to like that.
The offensive linemen are going to notice. They're going to chirp, and that's going to be bad for your chemistry. So they don't have a card to play as far as a short-term extension. There's no way, and I've said this a million times, sorry if I'm repeating, that Rosenhaus is bypassing his free agency. That means we're at an impasse. Right. That means JJ's either going to have to do, it's one of two things are going to happen here, Damon. JJ's going to tuck tail, lose some face, get his butt in the locker room, play his butt off, and not say much about it and just say it was the calf and I love everybody and kumbaya, or he's going to be traded. So what do you think it's going to happen? I think he's going to be traded.
I mean, he should have been traded a month ago.
I agree.
They're playing with JJ's money. Think about all the roster machinations that you wouldn't have had to gone through this entire preseason, and Mordecai's here one day and gone the next because we got to bring in a camp arm or a camp body or a camp what the fuck ever, and all of the roster twisting that they've done in the name of we don't have the right amount of guys, and you could have maybe had a right and healthy guy had you made this trade a month ago. Again,
let's address this though too.
They're playing with JJ's money. Where was this hate when Bosa held out?
Yeah, let's address that for a second, Steven.
Let me address that real fast. Nick Bosa is one of the 35 best defensive ends in the history of the NFL. JJ isn't even a top 50 receiver this decade. Get the fuck out of here. Like, one guy is going to the Hall of Fame. The other guy is wide receiver 4 in most situations. Come on.
And beyond that, one guy waited till he was a free agent, and he, as you said, was one of the best players in the league and wanted a king's ransom and got it. The other guy has a contract that his agent negotiated for him going into last year. The ink is not even 100% dry on his existing contract. And by the way, this just in, Jauan Jennings is not that dramatically underpaid. He's not. He's the 45th highest paid receiver in football. If you had a list of, if we had every general manager in here and we had a round table, and the whole sole purpose of our round table was to come up with the rankings of receivers in football, guess where Jauan Jennings would rank? Between 35 and 45. So the fact that he's 42 or 44 or 45, he's right there. He's paid roughly the same as Drake London. He's about as good. He wants to be paid, according to the reports, $20 to $22 million per year, which would put him in a category with Terry McLaurin, Stephon Diggs, Devontae Adams. This just in, he ain't in that category.
Right.
He had 2 touchdowns in the 2 previous years going into last year. His previous high receiving yardage total going into last year was 416 yards. So let's not pretend he's an elite guy. He ain't.
Here it is right here. I think this is the best way to say it. You know, this isn't saying it disrespectfully. This is just kind of matter-of-facting it. It's about the same as Kendrick Bourne. Yeah, he's Kendrick
better.
Bourne.
He's better at this point because he's healthier.
Here's the thing. He's Kendrick Bourne with more opportunity. He's gotten more opportunity than Bourne has had, I guess. So there you go. You know, I mean,
respect JJ, and they respect JJ, but the timing is not right on this.
No.
And there's no way. It's not good for the Niners, and it ain't good for JJ because of what I just said. They're not. He just wants the Niners. I mean, this is the spot they're in. They just want the Niners to rip up this year and just pretend it doesn't exist. Pretend $7.5 million doesn't exist and give him a contract for like $12 million or $13 million and an extra $5 million of cash this year, and still let him be a free agent in March. Don't impact that at all. And the Niners hate that. They hate the precedent. They hate what it's going to do to their locker room, and they're not doing it. So then it's a matter of, they've made that perfectly clear. They've allowed JJ to basically, I don't want to say lie because he's got a legit calf injury, but they've allowed him to sit out this important camp that Rosenhaus should have absolutely made sure that he was in, because JJ's best opportunity to have a huge productive year was to dominate the ball in September with all these other guys out. And instead, he sat out camp, isn't ready, probably going to have a soft tissue injury if he comes back. And so he's bypassing, he's costing himself millions of dollars. He really is. I don't know if he realizes it, but he is. And now the question is, what's the end game on this? And Shannon and Lynch said it the other day to Murph and Marcus on KMBR. He's like, hey, look, we love JJ. We're not the Sky Moore thing was not sending messages to get JJ. We're no messages. We're not sending messages. We love JJ. We want him here. He's our kind of a guy. Okay. I believe that, right? Because Lynch was there when JJ caught the ball against Seattle and, threw down one guy and carried 3 others to the first down. It's plays like that JJ makes that makes him special. But they're not going to extend him. They're just not. And then Lynch went on and said, you know what? It's time for us to go hit the field. In other words, we've made nice and given Jauan a wide berth. And we've made up excuses for him in the media. We told everybody it's a calf, and when people have asked us about it, we're like, yeah, we think it's a calf. So they've covered for him.
It's real.
The calf is real. If you don't believe us, go ask our mail carrier, Tim Kawakami.
Oh, that's not nice.
Well, I don't care if it's nice. It's the truth. I speak the truth on this show. You can, if you want to spill your story to one hand-picked carrier, then that's fine. You do that, but don't blame me if I noticed and mentioned it, and we'll talk about it because that's the truth.
Hey, whatever it takes to get that exclusive one-on-one. You know what I mean?
I would rather them never talk to me ever again than have to carry their mail and carry their water and spill their story. I want to be a media person. If I wanted to be in public relations, I would have been in public relations. You know what I mean?
Well,
if I wanted to be a PR guy, I would have been a PR guy. I don't want to be a PR guy, so don't make me a PR guy. I'm not your PR guy.
That's why you're one of the only few people I will allow being a half an hour late to a scheduled morning show, because you're my kind of guy. Here's the thing, Larry, I mean this with all due respect. You're my kind of asshole. You always have been, always will be.
Thank you.
Now, look, we want to get into some supers over here. I've got two little boys who are expecting pancakes coming soon. So that needs to actually happen here, Larry. You and I need to figure out what our week is going to be like as well when we're dipping into this again for Wake Up. And there are a few positives, though, that I think we got to get to before we even get to the supers. And I do want to say Nick Martin is everywhere. When Nick Martin's playing football, he's really easy to find because he's in the middle of everything. Sometimes good, sometimes bad. He's in the middle of everything. I love Nick Martin. I don't know how anyone could have ever not loved Nick Martin.
I got a new nickname for him. He should be called Water.
Because he's everywhere.
Because he nothing circles the globe like water. And Nick Martin. I mean, the guy, I said it. I had this battle with Dieter. And I love Dieter. Dieter is one of my favorite guys in the world. I love Dieter. I'm a huge fan of Dieter. I think he's one of the smartest guys I stream with. I love Dieter. But Dieter and I battled on this one. I said, "Hey, dude, Nick Martin is special," and he's like, "I don't see it. I don't see it." That's all. That's it.
Here's the thing.
What do you guys think? Who wins that? Who wins? Hey, Nick Martin's really, really special. I don't see it. Which camp are you in? Are you in the camp that Nick Martin's really special, or are you in the camp of I don't know?
Here's the thing. What I think I've seen in other instances has been proven wrong in the past. So what I'm seeing,
you've been burned.
Doesn't always truly matter. But boy, I think I see it here. I think I see it here. This guy, I'm not saying he's Dre Greenlaw light or about to be, but I like what I'm seeing for a guy that I've seen 3 games out of, who hasn't played much football, who looks as rocked up an NFL body as I've seen in a long time, and just moves like a Ferrari out there. This could be, a Bowman-ish find, a true discovery, someone who within a few years from now, it isn't so much about how great Fred Warner is, it's this guy that he's playing next to who's just something else too. Like Nick Martin, I think is about to happen. I really, really do. Now I don't know if Chase Lucas is about to happen, but I'd like to see him make this team. I didn't see much of him last night. It felt like they didn't play him very much.
He made a couple plays. They didn't play him very much early on. Curtis Robinson, that was an interception I could have made. They threw it to him. Tyler Haneke, was it Heineke who threw that one? Heineke. It might have been DJ Ugalele. I don't know.
Ugalala. That is the easiest interception he will ever be. You could walk up and hand him the ball. It would have been less easy to establish possession than catching that ball and running in the other direction. But Curtis Robinson, I thought he had a nice game last night. I thought Jeff Wilson Jr. on a night where, there just wasn't a lot of success in the ground game. There was not a lot of good run blocking on display throughout this entirety of the preseason. I thought that he played well. And I want to talk about how
Jeff Wilson had some great blocks too. If you go back and watch Jeff Wilson, there was a couple plays, Damon, where I just happened to be on the binocs at the snap, and Jeff Wilson stepped into the hole and stonewalled the rusher. And that's a good Charger team they were playing last night, albeit the backups. But yeah, I if you said running back room, you got 5 backs. Let's say you go CMC, Juice, Brian Robinson is RB2, Gurendo's there. That's 4, and then Keyshawn Vaughn probably going to get cut. Jordan James maybe starts on some kind of an injured list because he seems injured right now with the fingers. I don't know if that's enough to get him off the roster, but I think Jeff Wilson's the 5th running back. I think he is. I think he's made the team.
Yeah,
and I didn't think he looked good in practice. I was saying he was falling down. He didn't look good, but maybe that was just rust. The nice thing about Jeff Wilson, he knows the system. He's tough as shit. He'll block. He'll run in short yardage. They only, if you remember, I mean, Copeland made the good point to me after the ball game. He's like, people forget the Niners only got rid of Jeff Wilson because they had traded for Christian McCaffrey, and he was like, hey, I'd like to go somewhere where I could play a little bit, so they moved him, but they always loved him. Shanahan always loved him, and he's tough. He's rugged. So I think in some ways, Jeff Wilson might be almost the perfect 5th running back to Juice, CMC, Robinson, Gurendo.
I give him shots over Gurendo right now. Because look at it this way: when
they're different, right? They're different.
Get up. I don't know if Isaac Gurendo is going to get up from that tackle. I mean, he is the most dangling shouldered. That looks partially dislocated dude you see trotting off the field in football.
Can I ask another question? If he's got such a bum shoulder, what the fuck is he playing so much last night for?
Why is he out?
And then the other question I would have is, why was Renardo Green your number 2 corner? With Stout nursing a calf injury. And you having, I realize you only have so many guys, but you put Renardo Green out there, and he had a number of plays, and he played well. But are you telling me that you needed to see more out of Renardo Green? Really?
Right? Yeah. Like
that was very bizarre that he played last night. I thought
sometimes you see how good someone is in their absence. Dominic Pooney's absence has affected this running game dramatically, and I appreciate first of all, I think we all appreciate Dominic Pooney. Look at how questionable the offensive line is sort of at times with him. Look at what they are without him. Dominic Pooney is either going to protect the A gap or open the A gap, or the A gap ain't going to get open or protected. Like he is a special player. The Niners need him desperately, and hopefully he'll be out there for that Seattle game too. Pooney in his absence stood out to me last night. And
I talked to him up in the 4th quarter, right? They had the injured players up in a suite, and they all kind of came out towards the end of the game, but the game wasn't over. They were waiting for the elevator, and it's it's 8 floors, and it makes all these stops and this and that. So sometimes you got to wait around for a while. So they're waiting around for the elevator, but the game's going on. So they kind of came over to the TVs where we were, and I said, hey, what's going on, Big Dom? We talked for a minute. I said, how's the knee? He said, I said, is it the right knee or the left knee? Because it looked like the left knee was the one, even though the push came from the right side, it looked like it was his left knee that kind of bent awkwardly. And he said, it's the right knee, not the left knee. And then I said, hey, you can be ready for Seattle in week 1. And he's like, man, I'm trying to be. And I think he thinks he can be. So he thinks he dodged a bullet. He's in good spirits. I would, if you said, do you think he's going to go week 1? I would say, yeah, I think he's going to go week 1.
Good. Because they're going to need that guy week 1.
Yeah. Great guy too. What a guy.
Yeah. He seems
tremendous
solid
guy.
All around. Solid all around, man.
Yeah.
Let's hit some supers, Larry. I hear pancake.
12 of them today. Here we go. And thanks. And by the way, as we jump to the supers, we don't say this a lot, but if everybody here could hit like and subscribe, that would be awesome. Only, a small percentage of the people that watch us every day on our channels subscribes, and that's totally fine. But if you could hit like and subscribe, that would be awesome. If you hit like, more people will find the live stream and the algorithm overall, the YouTube algorithm. If you hit subscribe and click that notification bell, anytime Damon and I go live, you'll just get that alert. It's free, of course. You'll get that alert that just says, hey, they're going live, so you don't have to miss a minute of the action. So we would appreciate that greatly. And then, of course, also thanks again to our sponsors, Pig and a Pickle on our side, Claudaddy Arcades, and Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, and, of course, Ike's on Damon's side and the Dubliner as well. And thanks to all of our sponsors. We really appreciate every single one of you guys. And, guys, if you want to support the channel and support the shows, both of our channels, you're in West Portal in the city, stop by the Dubliner, have a beer, If you're out in Corte Madera and you're doing some shopping at the mall, go buy Pig and a Pickle, have lunch, tell them that you're a big fan of the show. They always love hearing it. All right. Let's go right here. Rita Thomas is Robbie Gold here, just waiting for a call up. Yeah, I think that's ship.
Yeah, Robbie's done. He's not coming back to football. And he's also, I think incapable of hitting anything outside of 45 at this point in his career. But inside of 45, he was money. There's no doubt about it.
Maybe that should be his nickname, Robbie Money Gold. Ryan Alloy says the margin for error is slim this year. Yes, it is. Missed kicks will cost us games. Love your guys' coverage. Keep it up.
Thank you.
Damon? What are those little things there that are?
What he had was an emoji or something that looked good in the chat, but when we go to it, it doesn't translate.
We didn't see it. Fozzie in the house. We all know Kyle is keeping Moody as a scapegoat. I don't think it's, you know what? I don't think they're keeping him as a scapegoat. That's paranoid. But I think it is safe to say that there is some, and I don't know if it's Jed, but there's somebody keeping score. And obviously this is a point of contention. Maybe the Shanahan and Lynch wanted Moody over other people in the organization. They're acting like it's not just a pick, like it's more meaningful. Like they're going to be called on the carpet if this one doesn't work.
What I don't understand, and this is what drives me nuts, is whenever you don't like a kicker, just go get another one. That's it.
The best kickers are come out of nowhere. You're right.
Fails, you get another one after that. You just keep on going until you get one that when he trots out on the field, your first instinct isn't, holy shit, this probably isn't going to go through. And that's
I've never yearned for Cameron Dicker more than last night.
Hey,
Cameron Dicker, the kicker. Brett, good morning, fellas. Yeah, I wish the Niners had more Dicker, and less Moody. Brett,
a T-shirt.
What if the Niners traded their first round pick for Cam Dicker?
Check out the size of our Dicker.
We need a big Dicker kicker.
A bigger Dicker kicker.
Brett says, good morning, fellas. Any steak dinner bets on Moody's future? Look at you, Brett. Look at you. Stirring the pot. Brett's over here stirring the pot.
Larry, kick this ribeye through the uprights. You get to him.
SF Niners 808. His college kicks were shaky too, not perfect. Jesus. No more kickers and punters in the college.
He was.
No more drafted. No more. I don't even care if you get the best kicker. I don't even want the best kicker. I want an anonymous kicker.
Never draft a kicker. Never draft a kicker. This is a very important thing.
Don't hitchhike. Don't draft a kicker.
It seems like the entire NFL talked itself out of drafting running backs in the first round, but kickers anywhere still in play. That's ridiculous.
Safer to hitchhike or to draft a kicker in the third round. Lazy Barry just says, hey, $4.99.
Thank you, Lazy.
I'm lazy. Ricardo Rodriguez. Guerrero looks hurt, but in my opinion, should be used like Debo. B-Rob pickup was huge. Between punt returns and field goals, special teams is in the same position as last year. Actually, I think it's probably going to be better.
It will be
Great
better.
Show as always, fellas. Go Niners. Thank you, Ricardo.
Thank you. By the way, I hear chaos upstairs, Larry.
We got a few more. We're almost there. SF Indigo, member for 19 months.
Thank you, Indigo.
In any other organization, Kyle would have been fired for Trey Lance. I don't know about that because he also had Purdy, but I hear you. Joseph Ernberg, any bad injuries? Thought Brock Purdy was about to suit up. You know what? This is the other thing with the Niners. Little press gathering. We're talking about a bunch of things. And then all of a sudden it's about to end. Someone's like, hey, Jacob Robinson? Yeah, he's got a broken forearm. What?
Didn't even know he was hurt.
What?
Broken forearm?
It's like one of the we're burying the lead here. You know, I mean, that's probably one of the leads.
Broke his forearm. Did he fall down in the shower? What it was like?
Broke his forearm. Bad break. Good break for Chase Lucas. Bad break for him. SF Niners 808. Hey, guys, who was the last coach to win a Super Bowl who called plays? Does Kyle do too much? Not focused. Look at Eagles, KC, Reed, and Belichick. You tell me Andy Reid doesn't call the plays?
Andy Reid calls plays.
Well, even if he doesn't call the plays, he designs all the plays.
Right.
And he probably tells the guy who's calling the plays when they should be called. So, I mean, I think, but I hear you though. I hear you. Kyle Shanahan, I think ought to mix it up this year. Maybe call some plays like Kubiak calls some plays. Mix it up, just to throw the the defensive guys off his scent a little bit.
Boy,
Ben Affleck's double chin.
Pumpkin. That's a
whisper
pumpkin.
Whisper source there. Ratto or the guy selling hot dogs. It wasn't Ratto, that's for sure.
Ratto hasn't been to Levi Stadium since the day it opened.
Yeah, so. I haven't seen Ratto and his colored pencils around these parts in a while. I'll just say this. The guy whispering is the guy who's talking to the brass.
Okay.
So there you go. Figure it out. Jonas Ymit Jonason.
Jonas Ymir Johansson, Jürgen Flurgen. Thank you, Jonas.
Is he a regular on your chances? Larry speaks my mind. Let Purdy choose protections? ? Purdy, I'll say this. I've talked to Brock Purdy on the record, off the record about protections. He's very comfortable with the Niners process in the protections. He doesn't feel like he's not in the loop or compromised in any way, shape, or form. So I would not expect there'll be any change in how he's protected and how the protections are set. But he, now granted, I'm a media guy and he may be just trying to hide his true feelings, but that's what I got out of it. Silence said frustrating front office doing F all to fix O-line. Shocker that it looks like the weakest link again. Moody getting as much leash as a top pick quarterback. What the fuck, Kyle?
I think those are all salient observations, and I'm not here to argue with any of them.
I'll just get on to Vito Burrito, who says Purdy and Jones or Purdy, Jones, Mordecai, or Bradley. Just Purdy and Jones.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I think Mordecai, I thought Mordecai beat out Bradley last night. But I don't think it's going to happen. I think Bradley's going to be – they'll both be waived. Bradley will be re-signed. I don't think either will be picked up. And maybe the Niners – I don't know. The Niners have 17 – like every team in the league has 17 practice squad spots. Will the Niners put Bradley and Mordecai on their practice squad? I mean, it seems like if you didn't – do you have 16 guys that you want? If you like two quarterbacks, maybe they'll keep all four. I don't know. But I don't think so because Rourke is looming.
The Raiders lost Aiden O'Connell to a broken wrist last night. So maybe call the Raiders and say, you want to come back to Bradley? Maybe there's a little deal to be done there. It won't return much, but it's something better than nothing. And I'm going to tell you right now.
That's a good idea.
Mordecai and Carter Bradley, Curtis Rourke is looking at both of those guys going, no problem. Hot supper. Curtis Rourke is going to outplay both those turkeys.
You're probably right on that. I'll say this, though. When Mordecai took off and I said to Cusack, he goes, dude, whoa, Mordecai can run. I go, Todd, he's got 4.46 speed. And he said, really? I said, yeah, 4.46 speed. And he's like, that's something. And I mean, this is a guy who knows. Ernberg in the house says, Larry, notice any Charger talent Niners could get? I did. I was looking at two guys, Damon. Brendan Rice, and thumbs down.
No.
Trickweeze Bridges, though, thumbs up. Cornerback for the Chargers, runs in the 4.3s, had a very good preseason. If I were the Niners, I would cut their backup corners or come up with an extra spot and get Trickweeze Bridges. I thought Trickweeze looked really, really good. He played at Florida. He's super athletic. That would be the guy I'd go out.
Well, your corners are going to be Green and Lenore for sure.
Stout if he's healthy.
For sure. Dallas Flowers, I think, is on this team.
For sure.
I think Darrell Luter Jr. made this team last night, which might be bad news for Chase Lucas, but I think Chase Lucas could be on this team as well.
I think with the Robinson injury, I think they all make it. I think they all make it. Robinson opens up a spot, I think. This one from B. Kirsch 20. Any shot they just add incentives to Jennings like they did with Mostert a few years ago. Also appreciate the content, Larry and Damon. It's possible, but once again, it will have to be something that doesn't change his free agent status and doesn't change his base. But that could be the solution. But you get the feeling Jauan's words on where he's quoting these music lyrics. Does this sound like a guy who's on the verge of signing a new extension with the Niners? You fucked around with the wrong dude. Hope your next end be great. Does that seem like a guy who's on the verge of getting a deal done with his employer?
That sounds like a guy who is about to start playing hardball after warmups in Seattle and saying, "I'm not playing today. I'm holding out. I'm pulling the Emmitt Smith. I'm not coming back until I get a new deal." In which case, everyone involved in the process needs to be scolded, because how did you not anticipate that? How did you not read the room and feel it coming? Let's see if this big trade actually happens. Or like I said, or you bite your bottom lip and you just pay him a little bit more, and the bad precedent that it sets. Hey, you know what? If precedent mattered, you should have presided over some better decisions months ago, but you didn't. So you painted yourself into the everybody gets fucked and look bad corner, and deal with it. Jennings, an extra $7 million. Here you go, right now. Does that shut you the fuck up for the year? Or can we go play football now?
Be interesting. They love him, but compliments don't spend. So we'll see. It seems like an impasse. They've maintained its calf. I've maintained its contract. We'll see if he comes back and there is no contract, Damon, and he says nothing, and he's just happy as a clam, then I'm wrong. I'm totally wrong. It wasn't the contract; it was the calf. But if he doesn't come back, or if you're judging it based on these quotes, or if he's pissed, if he doesn't get a deal, then it was probably the contract, huh? So, whatever. We can debate, and there is no definitive answer because we're never gonna get the real answer. But anyway, this one, the one thing I would push back on is this notion. One guy's like, we're cooked. Another guy in here says the 49ers are mediocre. You
can't be cooked. You're not even in the kitchen yet. The kitchen opens in 2 weeks. So don't tell me that you're cooked or haven't cooked or don't have the right ingredients. Yeah. You haven't, dude, there is to say, here's the thing. Larry, they lose week 1 in Seattle. Everyone is going to declare the sky is fallen. It's already over. Fire everyone. Shoot it all into the sun. And then there's going to be 16 more weeks of football after that. So buckle up, grow the fuck up. If you're a kid who is emotionally unstable, this is going to be a tough Niner season on you. You're going to have to be an adult, a grown-up to get through this season. Let me just tell you. Grown-ups only.
It's gonna be challenging. It's gonna be challenging. But all I would say
they'll be better in week 12 than they are in week 1. I promise you that.
Beyond that, there's a lot of people putting they can't separate from what I see with my eyes with the Niners in their uniforms to what's reality. Because what you're seeing with your eyes this summer is really not reality, because the Niners do have a core that's at the very top that's as impressive as almost any team's core. And yet that core at the top, outside of a little bit here and there, didn't really see the field. So now you're going to add your top core players. And I agree, there's a lot of youth here, and there's a lot of things that need to come together. There's going to be bumps in the road. But there's also going to be some positives, and they're going to be able to take a shot on some younger players, I think, at the cut down, if they want, that I think are going to benefit them. I'll leave you on one positive note. Last night, outside of Nick Martin, there was a really nice 2 or 3 play sequence in the second half where Trevis Gibson showed something. And you know what? That guy can rush the passer a little bit. So they found something there in their scouring of all these injuries, and this guy comes and that guy goes and all this stuff. They kind of found something there. They found an edge piece that they can use. So I think that's a positive for sure. They still have a very favorable schedule, but it's going to, they don't look great. I'll grant you that. It hasn't looked good all summer, but you know what? There's logical reasons for that. I think what we're going to see this year is going to be a little bit better than what some people think based on what we saw in this preseason.
We haven't seen Mykel Williams at all. We haven't seen hardly any of CJ West. We haven't seen a single snap where Bryce Huff and Nick Bosa have been on the field together with Fred Warner standing behind the both of them. Not once. Haven't seen any of that.
Upton Stout's been awesome in camp. He hasn't played. I mean,
I haven't seen any of that.
We'll see. Anyway, that's going to do it for us. Sorry to everybody for being so late today. It was just such a late night, and I couldn't do the turnaround. But thanks to all you guys. Thanks to our sponsors.
Hit a bunch of midnight traffic coming up 880.
Oh, dude. Yeah, seriously. Is there anything more frustrating than road work being done at night that slows you down? And there's traffic in the daytime's bad. Traffic at night is worse.
Taking like a 4-lane highway, getting it down to 1 lane, that'll slow everybody.
Redirecting. Well, let's close part of 680 and we'll route everybody through Vasco Road or something. It's
Larry, we have done a lot of work. We've done our post-game wake up today. I don't think we're in the wake up business Monday morning. Shall we dip in on Wednesday to talk about the final rosters, and then Friday, of course, is a wake up day? You want to Wednesday, Friday wake ups this week?
We could. Let's do a TBD on Wednesday because I got to check the Niners schedule. I don't know exactly what I'm looking at, but I will text you. We'll definitely do one Friday. And I will text you as soon as I get the Niners schedule.
Night wake up, a good night once we have rosters.
Yeah, we could possibly do something Tuesday night or Wednesday morning. I don't mind the Wednesday morning. I just got to make sure that we're not missing practice. Also, I got to double check my KMBR schedule. I do an appearance with Murph, and I believe it is Wednesday morning, but I'll double check.
All right. Well, thank you to everyone for watching. Like and subscribe to both channels on your way out, please. I got a goal of getting to 50,000. Larry says your entire life changes once you get to 50,000 subs. So I'd like to get there. Help me do it by the bye week if you would, please. Thank you so much for watching. We so appreciate you waking up and spending your time with us today. Thanks for all the supers. Thanks for frequenting our sponsors. And it is pancake time.
You know what? We got to dial it back. We haven't done it in a while. It's been a long time since we've dusted off Balky and Barbieri. But let me just say this. Hey, Jed, if you're out there, if you're listening, you need somebody who can pick a receiver that can't play dead. I'm your guy.
Let me just say, I'm excited about Nick Martin. I think Nick Martin could be a good player. I'm looking at him run all over the field. He's everywhere. This guy is all over the earth like blades of grass, or as Larry said, he's a lot like water. He reminds me of water. Is he distilled water? Is he carbonated water? Is he bubbly? Tommy, pick a line, Tommy. Where are we going?
You know what? What I'm going to do here is I'm going to open this envelope that I just see what I put the name in there. Let me just see if I can open this. All right, it says A.J. Jenkins, no matter what. No matter what.
I said,
mine says Amicis. I opened an envelope and says Amicis. Try them in a strone.
Be careful in that Miata.